Boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. I know that was hilarious, right? You could have clicked any video on the internet, but you chose to click this one. Guys, these narcissists, you cannot tell them anything, okay? When I say tell them anything, what I specifically mean is you cannot give them real information. You cannot give them any kind of advice. You cannot make them aware of their own behavior. You can't try to help them. None of these type of things. You can't tell these people anything at all, okay? They have the biggest egos in the world. They have the biggest pride in the world. So anything that you try to tell them, even if it's coming from a good place, even if it's coming from, you see where their potential could be and you're trying to help them, or, maybe they did something and you have a better way of doing it that's more efficient, that would help them, things like that. They're not listening, okay? They don't want to hear that. They take everything that someone says to them as a slight against them some way, even when it's not. So, for example, let's say this narcissist is doing something, doing some kind of activity or some kind of work into something, and you know of a better way to do it to where it would be easier for them and would actually help them. If you try to tell them, hey, if you go out this door, you can get there a little bit faster than if you go out the other door, right? Which the other door that they're taking may be, I'm just using this as an example. Bear with me here, guys. Let's just say, for instance, they're taking the back door out of the house and they have to walk all the way halfway around the neighborhood to get to the parking lot that's in the front of the house, right? If you try to tell them, hey, like if you go out the front door, the parking lot is like right there in front of you. You don't have to walk all the way around, halfway around the neighborhood to get to it. You can just take the front door, Genuine information, real information, you know what I mean? Good information to try to help someone. Where a healthy person would hear you say that and they would think, okay, well, I'll use the front door. This person's trying to help me. Cool. I can get to where I want to get to faster. The narcissist doesn't hear that. They hear you telling them something as a slight against them. What they hear is, oh, this person thinks I'm stupid. This person must think I'm dumb. So screw what they say. Don't tell me how to live my life. You don't get to tell me anything. You're not my authority figure. I don't know why you're trying to tell me things. I'm just going to keep going out of the back door and making it harder for myself. That's what they're going to do because they don't want to hear things that threaten their self-image. When you tell them something like that, what they're hearing is, I'm not doing it right, and this person thinks they're smarter than me. That's what they hear. That's not at all your intention. That's not even close to your intention at all. You're actually trying to help the person. But again, that's just not how they view it. Narcissists view everything as a threat to their ego. That's why you can't tell them anything. You can't give them any kind of wisdom that you might have. You can't give them any kind of genuine knowledge about an area that you might have. They have to act like they're smarter than you. They have to act like they know better than you. Nobody can tell them anything. Nobody has information that they don't have. Everything is viewed through an egotistical lens. Here's another example, which is absolutely insane. If a narcissist meets a person who is highly qualified in a particular area, I'm just going to use a physician as an example. Let's say someone is a doctor, right? They've spent years of their life going to school to study to be a doctor, okay? And they have their doctorate degree, whatever. They're an actual doctor. They've been working as a doctor for years, okay? They're the real deal, okay? If this narcissist, who is none of those things, meets this doctor, the narcissist will try to act smarter than the doctor. The narcissist will try to act like, oh no, they're the real doctor. You know what I mean? They'll try to outsmart the doctor. If the doctor tells them something that's true, they'll try to one up the doctor. They'll be like, oh well, I heard this actually. What you're saying is not really. They have to knock you down a peg. Right? They can't just be like, okay, this person is obviously the real deal. They're a fucking doctor. They've gone to school for this for many years. They know what they're doing. They've been working in the industry for many years. They're a true professional. They're highly qualified. Maybe I should just listen to what this person has to say and adjust accordingly to whatever information they're giving me. That's not what's going to happen at all. They're just going to keep doing whatever they're doing. They're going to act like they're smarter. They're going to act like they're more qualified, even though they're not even close. This is the level of insecurity and ego and pride that we're talking about with narcissistic people, guys. They can never be a step below. They can't be below anybody. They have to be a step above or on top of whatever for whatever reason. So that's why you can't tell these people anything at all. You can't help these people with anything at all. And I've fallen victim to this myself. Like, I've known, sorry guys, I've got some burps here. I just ate. Okay, so give me a break. But I've known so many narcs in my life that I've tried to like tell real things to help them, like give them some kind of real information, like, hey, if you try this or that, you might get better results, or this thing that you were doing wasn't necessarily the best way you could have done it. Here's a different way you could have done it. Like, here's some genuine wisdom about this particular topic that I happen to know. Here, I read a book on this and I learned this. Here's some information for you that you can have that you can integrate into your life as well. You can't tell them anything. Anytime you try to tell them something that you think might help them in some way, they take it as a slight. Don't tell me how to live my life, bro. Don't tell me anything. You think you're smarter than me. Like, that's what they're hearing inside, because again, their pride is so big. They can't take in information. They can't take in anything new. They think they just know it all. They think their way is the best way, and they're just going to do whatever they're going to do. So when you try to give these people some kind of information or advice or try to help them in some way, whatever, they're just going to do what they're going to do. They're not going to do what you say. They're not going to take your information in. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to hear you out. They're just going to do whatever they were going to do in it originally and just continue to do it. And the only way that they'll ever change or be open to taking in new information or changing or changing their own behavior or something like that is if they do what they're going to do and then it fails some way. It backfires in their face some kind of way, and now they're forced to reflect and be like, oh, well, maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. But even then, they'll still never do it. They're still going to do whatever they're going to do. They're going to live their life however they're going to live it. You cannot help them. They don't want help. They don't want to be told anything. They don't want anyone to give them knowledge or wisdom or information. They don't want that because they view that as you patronizing them or something, when that's not even the case at all. It's never the case. A healthy person can hear information and take it in and adjust their behavior or their actions or whatever they're saying, right? The narcissist is not that way at all. They're not trying to hear it. They don't want to hear shit. They just don't. They never change. They never integrate information. They never want to learn anything. They don't want to learn stuff because they think they're already perfect. They think they're already the most smartest person in the world. They already think they're the king or the queen of England. They think they are the arbiter of knowledge. They think however they were raised is just the right way. That's just the only way it can be. And, everybody else is an idiot. I'm a genius, period. And I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do all the time. Do whatever I want to do all the time. Be defensive about it and just never hear anyone out. Never listen to anyone. Never be humble enough to understand that someone else is more knowledgeable in a particular area than me. That's just what it is. That's just what the narcissist is like, guys. You can't tell these individuals anything at all. And if you guys are anything like me, you're very empathetic. You've done a lot of internal work on yourself. So when you look at someone else, you can see where they're at, if that makes sense. You can see where they're at psychologically, and you can see where maybe they're not living up to their full potential. Maybe they're not being the person that they could be in some way. Maybe something that they don't in some area. And so you want to try to help people. You want to give them information. You want to tell them about themselves. You want to try to make them a better person. You can't really do that. You can't fix people, guys. And it's not that you're trying to fix people or whatever, but you're just trying to help someone. You're trying to help someone understand themselves better. You're trying to help someone, work easier in a particular area or have an easier time doing whatever task they're trying to do or whatever it is. You guys understand what I'm saying here. You can't help these people, so don't try. What you have to do with these narcissists, guys, is you have to emotionally detach yourself from them and just think, okay, that person is going to do whatever that person is going to do. They're not listening to me. They're never going to listen to anything I have to say. And I have to just let them kind of fall on their own, if you will. Let them, let them fall over on the bike whenever you take the training wheels off on their own, if you will. If you guys understand what I mean by that metaphor, you have to let them do whatever they're going to do and learn from their own consequences and learn from their own mistakes, because that's just what they're going to do. They're going to do whatever they're going to do anyway, and they have no interest in listening to what anyone else has to say about it. So you just have to emotionally detach. That's kind of the best advice I can give you. If there's any advice that I'm trying to put forth in this video, it's that. And that's something that I struggle with myself. That's something that I'm still working through right now. Trying to help people, trying to get people to live up to their potential, trying to, help people maybe make more money in this area, or help people have a better diet, or help people have a better physique, or, give people some kind of wisdom that I may have. Whatever it is, you just have to learn and understand that you can't help these people, and you can't tell them anything. You can't, because again, the pride and ego is through the roof, and that's just what it is. A lot of times these people can't see themselves. They're not ready to hear about themselves because they're not on that level. They're not on that level of understanding, or they're not on that level of life yet. So that they don't want to hear about themselves. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to be told information that's valuable. They don't want anything like that. They're the best. They're the smartest. Everything they do is right, and no one can tell them anything. So another way you can kind of think about it is, if I put narcissism and human social interactions in terms of like a video game, you can think of it like, if you're a person like me who's done the work, you've spent a lot of time alone, you've done a lot of reflection, you've been through lots of difficult things in life, and you've reflected and you've learned a lot about yourself. You know who you are, you have real confidence, you've spent a lot of time learning and seeking knowledge and seeking wisdom and things like this, and seeking truth and this sort of thing. And so you like to think you have a pretty good understanding. You're like on level 36, 37, 38 of the video game. The narcissist is on like level 1, 2, or 3. So you have a completely different level of understanding than they do. You're on a totally different level than they are, like spiritually, like just worldly knowledge, spiritual understanding, self-knowledge, things like that. You are on a totally different plane of knowledge and understanding than them. And so they're not going to understand you. They're not going to understand you at all. They actually don't want to. They don't even want to understand themselves. They're on like level 1, 2, or 3 of the video game. They're still, in a state where they don't understand anything at all, but they think they do. You know what I mean? It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. Like I said in one of my previous videos, the less you know about something, the more you think you know, right? Because you don't know how much you don't know. That's what the narcissist is like. They don't know how much they don't know, and so they think they know a lot. They think they're a genius. They think they're perfect. And so someone like you, who's on a higher level of understanding, who's on a deeper level of wisdom and knowledge and truth, can see exactly where they're lacking, but you can't help them. You can't do anything about it. You just have to let go and let them do what they're going to do, and let it play out however it's going to play out. Let them learn on their own. Let them find out on their own. Let them have their own consequences so they can get it themselves. And once that happens, some of them will get it at that point, but a lot of them still won't. A lot of them are stubborn. A lot of them are so egotistical and lost to where they can never admit fault. They can never admit they were wrong. Things like that. So just let go, guys. Emotionally detach. If you're in an entanglement with a person like this, whether it be at your workplace, whether it be a roommate, whether it be a family member, whether it be a relationship partner, whether it be a friend, whatever, it doesn't matter, whatever label it is. If you're in entanglement with somebody like this, you just have to understand you cannot tell them anything. You cannot tell them anything. They're not interested in listening to anyone. They're not interested in learning new information. They're not interested in wisdom or knowledge or understanding or anything like that. They think they've got it all figured out. Their way is the best way, and that's just it, guys. So anyways, that's the video. You cannot tell a narcissist anything, so just don't even try. Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate your view. Your view is greatly appreciated. Guys, feel free to browse the channel. I've got a lot of different videos on narcissism. I've got a lot of different videos on a lot of different topics. I also do shorts on this channel, so if you like what I have to say, be sure to browse the channel. Subscribe for more, and I will see you guys when I see you guys.